Right now, in big cities in Japan, there are more and more protests by Japanese people against the government's immigration policies. But don't worry, immigrants. There are also people protesting against the anti-immigrant demonstrations. And actually, the counter-protesters are more extreme than the anti-immigrant protesters. Some foreign protesters even shouted at Japanese people, "Go back to your country!" Now, this is a big problem for Japan. If the government changes its immigration policies, convenience stores like 7-Eleven may not be able to stay open 24 hours. That means you won't be able to shop late at night. And street cleaners will lose their jobs. I know it sounds like a joke, but jokes aside, today I want to explain why anti-immigration movements are happening in Japan. If you watch this video, you will understand the situation in Japan today. Recently, in Japan's upper house election, a new conservative party called Sanseito gained a lot of seats. Their slogan is Japanese first, and it especially appealed to young voters in their 20s and 30s. Why? Because many young people feel that if Japan just keeps accepting foreigners without any clear plan, Japan will no longer be Japan. Sanseito loudly opposed globalism and pushed to review immigration policy, and that message really resonates with young people. But are they really conservative? Then why is their slogan in English Japanese first? I think real conservatives would have said it in Japanese, like 日本人一番 Meshida. Why are people supporting Japanese first? One reason is over-tourism. Lots of foreigners are visiting Japan, and that means more noise, more littering, and sometimes bad behavior. But honestly, that's not such a big deal. They are only staying here for a short time. It's like a one-night stand. You put up with it because they are gone the next morning. And in the meanwhile, they spend money. What people really care about is immigration. Right now, immigrants make up only about 3% of Japan's population, so Western people criticize Japan. Come on, you only have a 3%. You are overreacting with your low birth rate. You should be more open. You guys need us. But the actual number of foreign residents in 2024 was 3.76 million. That's not small, right? And Japanese people have started to realize if we don't deal with this early, we could end up like some European countries where local culture has disappeared. Young Japanese are learning from European countries. I mean, European developed countries. In Europe, diversity often means respecting other people's cultures more than your own. That's why some European countries became Muslim countries. Japanese first goes viral. Sanseito's message spread fast online, and foreigners living in Japan started pushing back. We are not being privileged or treated specially. The reality is both Japanese people and foreigners working in Japan are struggling. No one has much financial room to breathe anymore. That's why they feel others are getting priority over them. Westerners living here are now saying, Japan finally has a far-right party. We are going to be discriminated against. But actually, they don't need to worry. Foreigners who are working hard, paying taxes and living on low salaries and separate the trash are our comrades. The concern isn't about Westerners. Look at the numbers. The largest group of foreign residents in Japan is Chinese. The second is Vietnamese. That tells you which countries Japanese people are most worried about. But to be clear, this is not really the foreigners' fault. It's Japan's government policies. Meshida. French news said that many Chinese from mainland China are going to Tokyo, saying that Tokyo is becoming the new Hong Kong because of Xi Jinping's rules and China's slowing economy. More Chinese are choosing to move to Tokyo. The main reason many Chinese go to Japan is not because they like it, but because Japanese visa rules are easy and they can invest with a weak yen. Because of this, Chinese buyers are buying lots of land and apartments in Japan. Now, with many properties owned by Chinese, rents are going up fast and more apartments are being rented illegally to tourists, saying Tokyo is becoming like Hong Kong means it could become part of China. Being part of China means becoming a special region, like a camp. This is not a fun camp. We have our history. Even worse, some Chinese in Japan are posting videos saying Japan will become part of China. These videos are going viral in Japan. Many Japanese are leaving comments, but of course, I cannot share them here.
Meshida.
Recently, Japan's Foreign Minister Mr. Iwaya eased visa rules for Chinese tourists. There are even rumors he took bribes from Chinese companies. Now, Chinese tourists can stay up to 30 days and wealthy Chinese can get 10-year visa. Plus, with the relaxed visa rules, there are some concerns about the behavior of Chinese tourists. Well, I wouldn't complain because we Japanese used to be exactly like that when we were 6 years old.
万里の長城を訪れた20代の日本人観光客の男性が尻を出し、一緒にいた女性が写真を撮影していたところ、警備員らに取り押さえられました。
I'm joking. My Chinese friends are so friendly, kind, and polite. That's why I cannot believe these kinds of videos of Chinese tourists went viral in Japan.
使い方がわからなかったのか、中国人さん、那覇空港で自販機を殴るけるのを大暴れ。その映像はこちら。
Recently, the Japanese government has eased the visa requirements for Chinese seniors over 75. This means that if a Chinese person over 75 comes to Japan with a 90-day visa, it's possible now, they could potentially enroll in the national health insurance. As a result, taxes paid by poor Japanese, foreign workers, or English teachers could end up being used for elderly Chinese who are not paying taxes in Japan. Japanese people worry Japan will become a nursing home for China's elderly. And honestly, our nursing homes are already packed.
Meshida.
A few years ago, Japan created a new working visa called the Specified Skilled Worker, and we lure young Asian workers with promises like Japan needs more highly skilled and creative foreign workers, so we won't make you do simple jobs. Here, you can use your high skills for creative work. For example, cleaning offices very early in the morning, working on farms in harsh conditions, and changing diapers for elderly people with dementia. That's so cool, right? And they are supposed to get equal or higher pay than Japanese workers, but in practice, they end up in the lowest paying, most challenging jobs. It is said that many young Asian workers are in debt because before they come to Japan, they pay a lot to intermediaries. So, among the specified skilled workers, some of them have debts of more than 1 million yen. As a result, they have to work and earn money in order to pay back their debts. Also, if they quit their job, they have to go back to their own country. Yes, our government created a very good system. Japanese companies needed to educate or brainwash them to work long hours for a low salary. Now, many Japanese companies are struggling to make Asian corporate slaves. Unlike the Japanese, they are not educated to be corporate slaves. Every year, thousands of specified skilled workers, especially Vietnamese, run away from their workplaces. In 2023, almost 10,000 workers disappeared and over half were Vietnamese. Some end up committing crime just to survive. And those Asian workers don't have many opportunities to hang out with Japanese friends. They mostly hang out with other Vietnamese friends. And some of them don't follow the rules here and they have parties and make a lot of noise. I think all of this is the fault of our Japanese government.
Meshida.
In Kawaguchi City, Saitama, many Kurdish people from Turkey have applied for refugee status, causing tension with local residents. Friction is growing due to differences in rules for garbage disposal and daily life habits. There was even a case where a Kurdish man who had been convicted of sexually assaulting a middle school girl was arrested again for a similar crime. But the police didn't even announce the arrest, claiming it was to protect the victim's privacy. Locals feel the government is more interested in protecting criminals than protecting women. And Japan is starting to look like Western countries where even talking about immigration problems gets you labeled as racist. The truth is that undocumented immigrants are doing the jobs that the Japanese people want, keeping the country running. That's why we need them. That's why we must protect their rights. Even if they are here illegally, Japan is basically the 51st state of America. Right now, immigrants make up about 7 to 8% of Kawaguchi's population. That's why many Japanese see Kawaguchi as a preview of Japan's future. Because of social media, all these issues, big and small, have become visible. And that's why young people especially are starting to worry about the rapid increase in foreigners in Japan. In Japan right now, the big topic is immigration. The government says it will bring 100,000 people from Bangladesh and 50,000 people from India in the next 5 years. But Japan already has 1.46 million people called hikikomori who stay shut inside their homes. Maybe we should help them first before bring more foreigners.
Meshida.
In May this year, the Japanese government announced a plan to accept 100,000 people from Bangladesh over a 5-year period. At that time, it didn't become a big topic on social media, probably because celebrity scandals were dominating the news. But just a few days ago, this news started trending online and many Japanese people are now saying, "Oh my god, Japan's safety will get worse." The agreement signed between Japan and Bangladesh is about accepting workers through the specified skilled worker and technical intern training programs. Do you know what that means? In short, it means low-paid Asian laborer or cheap corporate slaves. If you want to know more about this, please check out this video. They will mainly work in sectors with serious labor shortages, nursing care, construction, factories, and restaurants. In other words, they will learn the specified skills of taking care of elderly people with no future, doing hard labor for low pay, and serving food in restaurants. Before coming to Japan, Bangladesh youth will be trained locally for free by Japanese companies. Then they will be brought to Japan to work. Even the famous izakaya chain Watami is opening a training facility in Bangladesh. My Bangladesh friends, please know Watami is a Japanese izakaya open until morning. Good luck. By the way, in 2023 alone, about 10,000 technical interns went missing in Japan. My advice as a Japanese person, don't join this project. We already know the pattern. Young Asians who have a future are brought to Japan, forced to do dead-end jobs, cannot fit in, build their own communities, ignore Japanese rules, and clash with locals. Despite this, politicians are expanding the system. Why? Probably because kickbacks from companies are more important than public safety. Bringing in 100,000 migrants in 5 years and thinking no problems will happen, that's just unrealistic. As you already know, Japanese people can never really do multiculturalism. We cannot respect a culture that doesn't keep time, follow garbage sorting rules, or do unpaid overtime.
Meshida.
Prime Minister Ishiba met with Indian Prime Minister Modi. They agreed to promote over 500,000 people exchanges between the two countries, and Japan will accept 50,000 skilled Indian workers in 5 years. Many Japanese people say, yes, India has a lot of talented people, but the best ones who speak English, they'll go to the US or Europe. Not low-wage Japan. Only anime nerds will come here. Unless Japan raises salaries, talented Indians just won't come. Look at the white people already in Japan. It's obvious! And to all white people living in Japan, I'm so sorry. Because of the government's plan to bring in Indian workers, somehow you guys end up getting blamed too. Online, people are even bringing up a 2018 CNN report that said India is the most dangerous country for women. Many Japanese are now worried about sexual crimes. Unlike Japanese men, they won't be satisfied just molesting on the train. Recently, Japanese media has also reported several cases where foreign men arrested for sex crimes against Japanese women were released without indictment. This only makes the fear stronger. And just at this timing, Japan decided to allow morning after pills to be sold without a doctor's prescription. Is this the government's idea of immigration policy?
Meshida.
Recently, a conservative party advocating putting Japanese people first won seats in the elections. Why? Because Japanese people are becoming poorer and life is getting harder. They don't have the luxury to discuss multiculturalism. The people who preach multiculturalism usually live in luxury condos high above the city, far removed from real multicultural life. But despite this reality, our Prime Minister Ishiba keeps accepting immigrants without a clear plan. At this rate, by 2040, foreigners will be 10% of Japan's population. Even now, at only 3%, there are already many problems. And while he says there is no budget to cut taxes for Japanese citizens, Prime Minister Ishiba is handing out money to other countries and foreign companies. This, my friends, is exactly how Japanese people feel today.
さーて、来週のサザエさんは
マスオです。毎日働いても給料のほとんどが税金で消えていくんですから笑うしかありませんよ。所得税に住民税、消費税に社会保険料。一体僕たちは何のために働いてるんでしょうか。これじゃあ2人目なんて作れないよ。相模オリジナルを買いに行かなきゃ。次回カツオ財務省解体デモに参加、ワカメフェミニストになる、船補助金詐欺で逮捕の3本です。
来週もまた見てくださいね。
悲しすぎる。
Right now, in Japan, people on social media are talking about African immigrants are coming. JICA, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, selected 4 Japanese cities and 4 African countries, Nigeria, Ghana, Mozambique, and Tanzania as hometowns. But those Japanese cities that were chosen are now receiving many protests. This program is called the Hometown Project. By the way, according to the Japanese government, Hometown Project means connecting local development in Japan with development in Africa and giving people chance to learn from each other. It doesn't mean accepting immigrants from Africa, but this hometown idea was misunderstood as a system to accept many immigrants from Africa. But why did this misunderstanding happen?
飯だ。
Because reports from the Nigerian government and Tanzanian media spread on social media. The Nigerian government announced the Japanese government will prepare a special visa for young and talented Nigerians who want to move to Kisarazu, one of Japan's cities. Of course, the Japanese government asked them to correct this because it was not true. They corrected it, but it was already too late. The statement had already spread on social media, and many Japanese people started criticizing it. Some parts of Nigeria is dangerous and under a travel warning. Why would Japan bring people from such a place? As a result, the fact that some parts of Nigeria are under a travel warning became widely known, and Nigeria's image got worse. Some people even say, can we really trust and exchange with a country that makes such a false statement? If the Nigerian government had stayed quiet, the Japanese government might have quietly issued visas. As usual, this would have happened behind the scenes, like celebrity scandal news. They jumped the gun, didn't they?
飯だ。
Next, about Tanzanian media. They made a big headline saying, Japan dedicates Nagai City to Tanzania. Of course, that cannot be true. Japan would never give one of its cities to another country. The only country our government gives towns to is China. But in a way, maybe Tanzania has joined the group of advanced nations because even their major media can now spread fake news proudly. So, because of the Nigerian government and Tanzanian media, Japanese people misunderstood the hometown system and protest poured in.
飯だ
The problem is also the name hometown. If they had called it sister city, people would not have misunderstood so much. When people hear hometown, they imagine young Africans coming home, Japan having to feed them. JICA, they should study English again before doing international exchange. Anyway, originally, the real hometown of humanity is Africa. Although most people never go back there in their lifetime. The sad part is that some influencers in Japan with African roots believed this false news. They passionately spoke about how dangerous it would be to accept African immigrants. As a result, they were criticized as racist. But that's not correct. They are not racist. They just dislike people of their own race. The biggest irony is that JICA wanted to deepen international exchange between Africa and Japan with this hometown system. But in reality, it became clear that local residents had no interest in international exchange. It turned out that people were actually more cautious about Africans. JICA should change the name from International Exchange to Hypocritical Exchange. Right now, there are protests every day in front of the Tokyo Metropolitan Government building. These protests started after Tokyo Governor Yuriko Koike signed an agreement with Egypt to bring workers to Tokyo. Simply put, the agreement says that many Egyptians will come to work in Tokyo. The problem is that this important decision was made secretly without telling the Tokyo Assembly. Koike even said, there are workers, not immigrants. In Europe, people who live in the country for a certain period are called immigrants, but in Japan, the government doesn't call them immigrants. They are called workers instead. If they were called immigrants, people would oppose it. Japan often changes the words to make something negative sound acceptable. For example, we call a street prostitute tachimbo or standing girl. Sugar dating with underage girls, papakatsu or daddy activity. White loser, an English teacher. Tokyo residents are worried. What we know about Egypt is just pyramids, pharaoh and camels. Will lots of pharaohs riding camels come to Tokyo? If a pharaoh comes for a job interview on a camel, we don't have a manual for that, and we don't need pyramids. We already have Mount Fuji. Today, I will explain why these anti-immigration protests are happening and what is going on in Tokyo now.
飯だ
These protests are not just about Egyptians coming to work. The main goal is to make Governor Koike resign. People say she sold Tokyo to Egypt for her own benefit. Koike has rumors of fake education claims. For the last 50 years, her profile said she graduated at the top of Cairo University. Somehow, the top part disappeared later. Honestly, there are many witnesses who say her Arabic is suspicious. People say it is impossible to graduate at the top of a top Middle Eastern university. It's like me claiming I graduated at the top of Harvard. Now you can see why people believe she lied. Even more suspicious, none of her classmates from that time have come forward. Maybe she had 0 friends in college, like Ken Suzuki-san. The only person who spoke up, her Japanese roommate in Egypt, and Koike didn't graduate from Cairo University. Probably she was just a roommate, not really a friend. A few years ago, a famous non-fiction writer published a book exposing Koike. The book proved her education history was fictional, just like Ken Suzuki-san's comedy career.
Meshida-san, shut the fuck up.
飯だ
Suddenly, the Egyptian embassy posted her Cairo University diploma on Facebook. Later, one of Koike's aides said the diploma was actually written by Koike herself, and he filed a criminal complaint against her. Then, for some reason, Cairo University officially said Koike graduated. The university is a government institution. They even threatened journalists saying, if you pursue this case, you will be punished under Egyptian law. However, the certificate didn't say she graduated at the top. She didn't bribe that much. At least one small credit to her.
飯田
Koike now has a weakness over a fake diploma from Cairo University. After she was elected in 2024, Egyptian officials and foreign ministers visited Tokyo and reportedly made many demands. Accept Egyptian workers, invite Egyptian companies to Tokyo events, teach Japanese technology to Egypt. If a politician lies about education, it is a crime in Japan. If she did lie, she should resign, because she has been lying for 50 years. She likes records, so maybe she wants the Guinness World Record for longest political education fraud. That is why Tokyo residents say she is spending our taxes to entertain Egypt. She is famous for heavy makeup, but apparently not just her face. Her education history was also heavily made up. Now she's old and the makeup cannot hide the truth. Her fake education is starting to show, but that's still way better than her makeup coming off. Right now, Japan is trying to accept more and more immigrants, but I am against the current government's immigration policy because it is not well planned. I'm not against immigrants themselves. I'm only against accepting a large number of immigrants just for cheap labor for big companies and for the personal interest of politicians. When I say this, some people call me a racist who hates immigrants. If they want to call me that, they can. Unlike them, I accept diversity of opinions.
飯田
Recently, I received many messages from Germans, British, and Canadians after making a video about Japan's immigration issue. They said things like, Japan, learn from us, otherwise your own traditions and culture will disappear, just like ours did. I was really surprised and moved. I learned that Canada also has traditions and culture. I'm sorry, Canadian people. I misunderstood. When I was a student, learning Japanese history was really hard. I had to memorize many books. Sometimes I envied Canadians because they only had to memorize a few books. But recently, even in Canada, anti-immigrant movements are happening. Yes, Canada, the kind and polite country famous for saying sorry all the time. Can you believe it? Even Justin Bieber, who represents Canada, sings sorry in his songs. But now, some Canadians have started saying, fuck immigrants. Even though Canada is a country built by immigrants, immigrants are even rejecting other immigrants. They said, if immigrants come, safety will get worse. I guess they finally understand how the indigenous people feel. In countries that accept a lot of immigrants in the name of diversity, opposition to immigration can also grow as a form of diversity. And this creates division in the country. Why? Because liberals promote diversity, but they often don't accept the diversity of conservatives. As a result, left-wing activists go in circles in their thinking and right-wing activists do the same. And neither side moves forward.
飯田
In Japan now, some Western left-wing activists who live here, their job is usually teaching English, say things like, Japan has only 3% immigrants, why are you trying to limit them? Japanese people have no diversity, they are racist, unlike us in Western countries. But most of these people have lived in Japan for years, yet they cannot speak Japanese and have no Japanese friends. They don't accept Japanese culture or diversity. Yet, they call Japanese people racist. Honestly, I think they are the real racists. This is my opinion, but foreigners who have adapted to Japanese culture and customs tend to be against immigration. Why? Because they feel like Japan is their own country. They don't want more immigrants coming in. Good immigrants often hate other immigrants.
飯田
Japan is a homogeneous country with many unique rules. Communicating with Japanese people is very difficult. We often avoid direct expressions and speak indirectly. So, you must understand the intention behind the words and translate Japanese into Japanese correctly. Even Japanese people sometimes cannot adapt to Japanese culture and leave the country. So, how can a foreigner who comes only to work adapt to Japan's culture?
飯だ
Also, Japanese women often cannot clearly say no like Western women can. They cannot refuse sexual harassment easily and sometimes endure it. This is clear if you look at the harassment culture on Japanese trains. Many Japanese perverts target these women. Also, when Japanese women have sex, they sometimes say no even when they mean yes. This is a Japanese cultural idea of 嫌よ嫌よも好きなうち. It means no no means yes. Furthermore, Japanese adult video is spread around the world. The Japanese women's response of no no or 嫌嫌 are misinterpreted internationally. Recently, there have been news reports of immigrants in Japan taking Japanese women to parks or cars and committing sexual crimes. The suspects often claim the women consented, and many cases are not prosecuted. They may excuse themselves by saying that in Japanese AV, women cry and scream, so they thought that was what women want. Unfortunately, it is said that in European countries, after accepting many immigrants, the number of sexual assaults against women has increased. Even Western women who clearly say no are attacked. So, what will happen to Japanese women? The Japanese government solution will probably be like putting posters in train stations to stop harassment. So they'll put posters in parks and parking lots saying "Stop raping" using cute characters. Of course, many immigrants work hard and pay taxes, and I respect that. But if Japan accepts a large number of immigrants without the proper policies and screening, the results will be clear, as we can see in Germany and the UK. This is not just my opinion. Many people say it from experience.
飯だ
Japanese people are said to have the best passports in the world, but only about 70% of Japanese people have a passport. Most Japanese people only know Japan. For them, foreigners are aliens. Of course, people who love Japanese culture, learn Japanese, and want to work in Japan are very welcome. But unfortunately, current wages in Japan are low, and the jobs most immigrants from Asia are asked to do are jobs that Japanese people do not want because the system is not strong. If you are unlucky, you may have to work in poor conditions. In that situation, it is impossible to adapt to Japan. They will probably end up disliking Japan and start their own community in Japan and don't follow local rules like European countries. Many middle-aged men shout, "Protest women from migrants!" In Japan, middle-aged men have to pay if they want to touch women. No money, no touching.
飯だ
The Japanese government announced that in the next 5 years, they will bring in 800,000 technical trainees or young Asian corporate slaves. And the idea is bring them here first, then educate them in Japan. Most of them are from developing countries in Asia. But honestly, the Japanese government is underestimating education. We Japanese went through school a closed system like a brainwashing factory just to be trained for Japanese society. We are purebred workers, always caring about others, always following rules, always working for the company. It takes at least 18 years to raise people who work without complaining and do unpaid overtime like Japanese do. And now, the government wants to upgrade this failed immigration system and bring in even more migrants. But this is not immigration policy 2.0. It's more like immigration policy minus 2.0.
飯だ
When I uploaded a video about Japan's immigration policy, many viewers commented RIP Japan. As you know, RIP means rest in peace. Recently, many British people have written to me, "Japan, if you continue like this, you will be invaded by migrants just like us." If Japan accepts mass immigration without a proper policy, we will not rest in peace. Look at the UK. It's not rest in peace. It's rest in chaos. Recently, on Japanese social media, anti-immigration movements are getting popular. Videos about immigration problems in the UK are going viral. Japanese YouTubers and influencers are sharing them. So, people in the UK, please tell us in the comments, are these videos true?
The mayor of London is a Muslim. The mayor of Birmingham is a Muslim. The mayor of Oxford is a Muslim. The mayor of Luton is a Muslim. The mayor of Blackburn is a Muslim. The mayor of Sheffield is a Muslim. The mayor of Brighton is a Muslim. All of this was achieved by only 4 million Muslims out of the 68 million people in United Kingdom. Today in England, there are over 2,000 mosques. There are over 100 Sharia courts in England, and there are more than 50 Sharia councils. 78% of Muslim women do not work and receive state support and free accommodation. 63% of Muslims do not work and receive state support and free housing. The #1 most common baby name in England is Mohammed. This is not immigration, this is invasion.
But in the UK, you can still see who is Muslim or migrant because of skin color or appearance. But in Japan, a lot of immigrants come from a huge ninja country with the same skin color, sometimes using ninja skills or even bribes. They become Japanese citizens and turn into politicians. Before you even notice, Japan is being invaded. In Japan, the birthplace of ninjas, there is no spy prevention law to protect the ninja rights. So the government cannot catch foreign ninjas. There are many politicians who are against making a spy prevention law. This is also shows that there are already a lot of ninjas in the Japanese parliament. Recently, a Japanese politician said a spy prevention law is dangerous because it means government surveillance. His videos went viral, but he belongs to the Japanese Communist Party. It's obvious that he is a ninja. He should study ninja skills more.
Meshida.
Another hot topic on Japanese social media, people say women's safety will be in danger if migrants increase. On social media, data is spreading that shows sexual crimes are increasing in the UK because of migrants. If you think I'm wrong and that migrants bring safety to women, let me know. Of course, Japanese people also commit sex crimes, but now Japanese people share stories online that foreign suspects are not prosecuted and they fear women will be less safe if more migrants come. Recently, a high school girl at the protest said,
今、石破さん、移民をたくさん入れようとして、このままで日本はレイプ大国になってしまいます。親の世代を安心させてあげられないのも辛いし、私の世代なんてどうなってしまうんだろう。
If that really happens, Japanese women will suffer a lot. Even now, Japan is already famous for train molesters and stalkers. What is sad is that Japanese feminists are silent on this issue. Maybe because they don't get government funding for it. Instead, many middle-aged men shout, "Protest women from migrants!" We Japanese middle-aged men cannot forgive this. When foreign men assault Japanese women, while we ourselves pay money just to talk to women at a girls' bar. In Japan, middle-aged men have to pay if they want to touch women. No money, no touching. Of course, some men cannot resist and touch women on crowded trains, but still, we cannot accept that foreign men assault women for free. If you have strange desires like Ken Suzuki-san, then do like him. Go to a shop, pay a lot of money for an option, and get it from a professional woman.
Meshida-san, shut the fuck up!
Don't attack. Being attacked is actually the best. Now, many Japanese people oppose mass immigration. We say, better rest in peace with an aging society than rest in chaos with mass immigration. So, 皆さん、さよなら。
Meshida.
Thank you very much for watching this video. Now I'm organizing my solo stand-up comedy show, YY Japan, and comedy tour in the red light district. Please check out link below. So see you in Tokyo!